Hollywood has always been a place where stars shine brightest until the spotlight reveals something darker. Some celebrities don't just fade away, they crash spectacularly, dragged down not by bad roles but by criminal records. From shocking arrests to courtroom spectacles, these once adored names traded red carpets for mugshots. Which of these fallen idols do you think deserved a second chance, and which ones sealed their own fate forever? Stick around, because you'll never look at some of these stars the same way again. Robert Blake. Few stories rocked Hollywood harder than the downfall of Robert Blake. Known for his Emmy-winning role in Beretta, Blake once commanded respect as a gritty actor who brought intensity to every performance. But in 2001, he found himself at the center of one of the most sensational celebrity trials in American history. Blake's wife, Bonnie Lee Backley, was found shot dead in their car outside a Los Angeles restaurant. Almost immediately, suspicion fell on Blake, whose strange behavior and turbulent marriage raised eyebrows. Prosecutors claimed he had orchestrated her murder, alleging he tried to hire stuntmen to do the job before attempting it himself. The trial became a media circus, rivaling even the O.J. Simpson saga. In 2005, Blake was acquitted of the murder, but a civil jury later found him liable, ordering him to pay $30 million in damages. Though he avoided prison, his career never recovered. Once a respected actor, Blake became a tragic case study in how fame, fortune, and scandal can collide with devastating consequences. Danny Trejo. Before Danny Trejo became a cult hero in Machete and a beloved tough guy character actor, his life read like the script of a gritty prison drama. Born in Los Angeles, Trejo grew up surrounded by crime, violence, and addiction. By his teens, he was already deep into heroin and armed robberies. In and out of prison throughout the 1960s, Trejo became a feared figure behind bars. He even boxed in San Quentin and earned respect as a bare-knuckle fighter. Yet prison also gave him something else: clarity. After hitting rock bottom, Trejo embraced sobriety and devoted himself to helping other addicts. Hollywood discovered him almost by accident. While working as a drug counselor, Trejo landed a job as an extra on the 1985 film Runaway Train. His rugged look and real-life experience quickly caught directors' attention, and soon he was appearing in action films as the ultimate tough guy. Unlike others on this list, Trejo is a rare redemption story. He went from hardened criminal to one of Hollywood's most unlikely success stories, proving that sometimes a second act can be even more powerful than the first. Mark Wahlberg. Today, Mark Wahlberg is a household name, a respected actor, producer, and businessman. But before the fame, Wahlberg's past was filled with crime, violence, and arrests that could have ended his career before it even started. As a teenager in Boston, Wahlberg ran with a rough crowd, committing a string of racially motivated assaults and robberies. At just 16, he was arrested for attacking two Vietnamese men, blinding one in one eye. He was convicted of felony assault and sentenced to prison, though he served only 45 days of a 2-year sentence. The experience proved to be a turning point. After his release, Wahlberg began to rebuild his life, first as rapper Marky Mark, then transitioning into acting with roles in Boogie Nights and Three Kings. Despite his later success, Wahlberg's criminal record continues to haunt him. He even sought a pardon decades later, sparking heated debate about whether Hollywood fame should erase a violent past. For Wahlberg, redemption came with discipline and reinvention, but his early years remain a chilling reminder of how close he came to throwing it all away. Tim Allen. Before, Tim Allen was cracking jokes on Home Improvement and voicing Buzz Lightyear. He was facing the very real possibility of life behind bars. In 1978, long before his rise to sitcom stardom, Allen was arrested at a Michigan airport for attempting to smuggle nearly 1.5 pounds of cocaine. The case was so serious that he initially faced the possibility of life in prison. Allen struck a deal with prosecutors, providing information on other dealers in exchange for a reduced sentence. He ultimately served just over 2 years in federal prison. During that time, Allen reevaluated his life and began honing his skills as a stand-up comic, often joking about his time in prison on stage. When he later landed his iconic sitcom role and became one of Disney's biggest stars, many fans were stunned to learn about his criminal past. But Allen never shied away from discussing it, using his story as both a cautionary tale and proof that reinvention was possible. Still, it's hard not to wonder what might have happened if his comedic talent hadn't pulled him from the brink of obscurity. Felicity Huffman. Few Hollywood scandals have shocked audiences quite like the 2019 college admissions scheme. At the center of it was Emmy-winning actress Felicity Huffman, beloved for her roles in Desperate Housewives and Transamerica. Her carefully crafted image as a hard-working, relatable actress crumbled when her name appeared on federal indictments. Huffman was accused of paying $15,000 to boost her daughter's SAT scores. Prosecutors claimed she participated in a nationwide conspiracy where wealthy parents essentially bought their children's way into elite universities. When the story broke, outrage was immediate. Fans and critics alike questioned how someone so accomplished could risk everything for academic shortcuts. Huffman admitted guilt, apologized publicly, and served 11 days of a 2-week prison sentence, along with community service and a hefty fine. Though she's attempted to return to acting, the scandal left a lasting stain on her reputation. What was once a celebrated career is now forever linked to one of Hollywood's most embarrassing legal dramas. Loughlin Felicity Huffman wasn't the only famous face tied to the college admissions scandal. Loughlin's fall was even more dramatic. Known to millions as wholesome Aunt Becky on Full House, Loughlin built her brand on family-friendly roles. That image shattered when it was revealed she and her husband, fashion designer Massimo Giannulli, had paid $500,000 to get their daughters admitted to USC as fake rowing recruits. The story spread like wildfire, exposing the deep inequities of privilege in college admissions. Loughlin initially fought the charges, insisting on her innocence. But as evidence mounted, including damning emails and photos, the pressure became unbearable. In 2020, she pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges and was sentenced to 2 months in prison, while Giannulli served a longer term. Loughlin has since tried to stage a quiet comeback, landing small projects and cautiously returning to Hollywood events. Yet the scandal permanently altered her legacy, turning a once-beloved sitcom star into a symbol of privilege, entitlement, and the lengths some parents will go for their children. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes was once one of Hollywood's biggest action stars, with Blade cementing him as a cult icon in the late 1990s. But in 2006, his fame took a dramatic turn when he was indicted on charges of tax evasion. Prosecutors alleged that Snipes had failed to file federal income tax returns for several years, owing millions to the government. Snipes insisted he was the victim of bad advice and shady financial handlers, but the evidence was overwhelming. In 2008, he was convicted on 3 misdemeanor counts and sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. For fans, it was almost surreal, watching a man who had slayed vampires on screen now facing down prison walls in real life. After serving 2.5 years, Snipes was released in 2013, eager to restore his career. While he's appeared in films like The Expendables 3 and Coming to America, the tax scandal remains a permanent shadow. Once a bankable box office star, Snipes' name is now synonymous with both Hollywood success and a cautionary tale of financial downfall. O.J. Simpson. Few names in Hollywood history carry as much infamy as O.J. Simpson. Once a beloved football hero turned actor, Simpson had a thriving career with roles in the Naked Gun films, and countless endorsements. But in 1994, everything changed when he was accused of murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman. The ensuing trial became a media spectacle like no other, dividing the nation and putting celebrity justice under the harshest spotlight. Simpson was acquitted in 1995, but the verdict did little to restore his image. The public perception of him was forever tainted, and he was later found liable for wrongful death in a civil suit. Then came the shocking twist. In 2007, Simpson was arrested in Las Vegas for armed robbery and kidnapping related to a botched attempt to reclaim sports memorabilia. Convicted in 2008, he served 9 years in prison before being released on parole in 2017. Once a Hollywood darling, Simpson became a tragic emblem of squandered fame, proving that sometimes the fall is even more unforgettable than the rise. Christian Slater. In the late 80s and early 90s, Christian Slater was Hollywood's bad boy heartthrob, starring in cult classics like Heathers and True Romance. But behind the scenes, his real-life troubles mirrored his rebellious screen persona. Alcohol, drugs, and violent behavior repeatedly landed him in trouble with the law, threatening to derail his promising career. In 1994, Slater was arrested for trying to board a plane with a gun in his luggage. 3 years later, he faced more serious charges after a violent outburst under the influence of drugs and alcohol, where he attacked his girlfriend and assaulted a police officer. He was sentenced to nearly 3 months in jail, followed by rehab. Though his legal troubles slowed his momentum, Slater eventually fought his way back, carving out a respected career in television with Mr. Robot, which won him a Golden Globe. But his past arrests remain a defining chapter of his story. Proof that Hollywood stardom doesn't make anyone immune to the law. Hugh Grant. For much of the 1990s, Hugh Grant was the face of the charming British leading man, with hits like 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Notting Hill making him a global star. But in 1995, that carefully polished image was shattered in an instant. Grant was arrested in Los Angeles after being caught with a sex worker in his car, an incident that became front-page news around the world. The scandal was especially damaging because Grant was in a high-profile relationship with actress Elizabeth Hurley at the time. Tabloids reveled in the hypocrisy of the suave, gentlemanly figure, caught in such an unflattering situation. For many fans, it was a jaw-dropping reminder that celebrities aren't always the people they appear to be on screen. Grant publicly apologized, appearing on late-night television and facing the embarrassment head-on. Surprisingly, his career survived the ordeal, though the scandal followed him for years. In hindsight, it became one of Hollywood's most infamous falls from grace, a lesson in how even the most charming stars can sabotage themselves with one reckless decision. Winona Ryder. At the turn of the millennium, Winona Ryder was still one of Hollywood's most respected actresses, with Girl, Interrupted, and Edward Scissorhands cementing her as both a critical darling and a fan favorite. But in December 2001, her career came crashing down in a way no one saw coming. Ryder was arrested for shoplifting thousands of dollars worth of designer clothing from a Beverly Hills Saks Fifth Avenue store. The arrest stunned Hollywood. Why would one of the most successful actresses in the industry risk everything over theft she clearly didn't need? Her trial was a media spectacle, with the actress appearing fragile, nervous, and worlds away from her iconic screen roles. Convicted of felony grand theft, Ryder avoided prison but was sentenced to probation, fines, and community service. The scandal effectively blacklisted her from major roles for nearly a decade. Only years later, with her role in Stranger Things, did Ryder stage a successful comeback. Still, the shoplifting saga remains one of Hollywood's strangest cautionary tales. Sean Penn. Sean Penn has always been known for his intense performances, but his off-screen temper often burned just as hot. In the 1980s and 1990s, Penn's career was shadowed by violent altercations, arrests, and a reputation as one of Hollywood's true bad boys. Penn was repeatedly arrested for assaulting photographers, getting into bar fights, and clashing with anyone who crossed him. In 1987, while married to Madonna, Penn was accused of domestic violence, a case that became tabloid fodder and cemented his volatile public image. He was also sentenced to 60 days in jail in 1987 for striking an extra on a film set and reckless driving. Despite his undeniable talent, eventually winning 2 Oscars, Penn's criminal record left a permanent mark. For years, he was just as infamous for his mugshots as for his performances. Though he reinvented himself as a respected actor and activist, Sean Penn's brushes with the law remain a notorious part of his Hollywood legacy. Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid was once a respected character actor, appearing in classics like National Lampoon's Vacation and Independence Day. But by the late 2000s, his career was overshadowed by increasingly bizarre headlines that made him more tabloid curiosity than movie star. In 2009, Quaid and his wife were arrested for skipping out on a $10,000 hotel bill. A year later, they were charged with squatting in a home they previously owned, leading to felony burglary charges. Instead of facing trial, the couple fled to Canada, where Quaid claimed shadowy Hollywood star-whackers were out to kill him and other celebrities. The strange saga played out publicly, with Quaid's paranoid claims making him appear unhinged. Hollywood, unsurprisingly, shut its doors to him. Once a Golden Globe and Academy Award nominee, Quaid became infamous not for his roles, but for his off-screen spiral into criminal accusations and conspiracy theories. His story remains one of the strangest falls from grace in modern Hollywood history. Lindsay Lohan's career seemed unstoppable in the early 2000s. From The Parent Trap to Mean Girls, she was one of Hollywood's brightest young stars. But fame, wealth, and freedom proved too much too soon. By her 20s, Lohan's life became a non-stop cycle of arrests, probation, and courtroom appearances. Her troubles ranged from DUIs to theft. In 2011, she was caught on surveillance cameras, stealing a $2,500 necklace from a Los Angeles jewelry store, leading to yet another highly publicized trial. Coupled with repeated drunk driving arrests and probation violations, her reputation collapsed. Directors stopped casting her, and studios considered her a liability. Though she's attempted comebacks over the years, including reality shows and smaller film roles, Lohan's career has never returned to its former glory. Instead, she's remembered as one of Hollywood's most infamous examples of squandered potential, a star whose mugshots became just as famous as her movie posters. Mickey Rourke. In the 1980s, Mickey Rourke was hailed as the next big thing, drawing comparisons to icons like Brando and De Niro. With hits like 9.5 Weeks and The Pope of Greenwich Village, his brooding charisma made him one of the most exciting actors of his generation. But off-screen, his temper and reckless behavior created chaos. Rourke was arrested multiple times for domestic disputes, bar fights, and reckless behavior. At one point, he was accused of spousal abuse during his turbulent marriage to actress Carey Otis, though charges were later dropped. By the early 90s, his career was in free fall. Seeking a new outlet, Rourke turned to professional boxing, but the decision left his face battered and his once golden Hollywood looks permanently altered. Though he staged a remarkable comeback with The Wrestler in 2008, winning acclaim and an Oscar nomination, Rourke's career will always be haunted by his criminal past and the destructive choices that nearly erased him from Hollywood altogether. And there you have it, the stars who swapped red carpets for courtrooms. Some clawed their way back to redemption, while others vanished under the weight of scandal and crime. Fame might open doors, but it can't keep them from slamming shut when the law comes calling. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and brace yourself because Hollywood has never run short of fallen idols.